One of the most critically acclaimed and well-remembered puzzle games is The Incredible Machine. Created by Jeff Tunnell's Dynamic Software and published by Sierra, it is an excellent example of a puzzle game that goes beyond just arranging colored blocks, with a variety of objectives all built around the premise of constructing bizarre contraptions out of household objects. What if I told you, however, that the same studio made another puzzle game, one that I haven't seen much about online? The game in question is about trains. Yes, trains. More specifically, Lionel model trains. That's right, the biggest name in model railroading, which is now celebrating its 120th anniversary, licensed a computer game. 3D Ultra Lionel Train Town was released in 1999 for Windows PCs, and followed by a deluxe edition in 2000. Like other Dynamix games with 3D Ultra prefix, such as 3D Ultra Pinball and 3D Ultra Mini Golf, it features pre-rendered 3D graphics used to make 2D sprites, ensuring even the least powerful computers at the time could run it. And, like model train sets themselves, the intended audience could range anywhere from younger kids, 5 to 10, up to adult hobbyists who still enjoy designing tracks and shunting cars. In fact, one of my few criticisms is that it's not always clear what age group each of the different games is designed for, but that could be seen as an advantage as well.
Visually, the trains and layouts all seem to be made with the sort of realism that Lionel strives for in their model trains, with a little humor for good measure, like the Church of Elvis and the rubber ducky that passes under the Bascule Bridge.
The environments are varied, with the levels shifting between them to keep things interesting. These include the desert, the valley, the living room, the North Pole, and even a purple moon. Honestly, I don't mind the dated pre-rendered models, probably because I grew up with this game. There isn't much to talk about in the way of animation, although a few of the buildings have animation to make them more interesting.
The music is as varied as the levels, with tracks ranging from rock to blues to country to electronic. Yes, a few of them were borrowed from the aforementioned Incredible Machine series, but they were great there and they fit here just as well. Other connections to Dynamix's other works include pinballs from 3D Ultra Pinball and RC cars from 3D Ultra RC Racers appearing throughout the game.
When you start the game and create a profile, you're given a list of jobs, all organized by difficulty level. Of course, the gameplay consists primarily of driving trains. That means shunting cars, picking up loads, and delivering them to their destinations. Some of these jobs include delivering Santa's sleigh, gathering supplies to build the Statue of Liberty, helping out with household chores, and repairing track damaged by UFOs. To pick up loads, you'll need the right kind of rolling stock. Passengers require coaches, iron ore requires a hopper, liquid loads require tank cars, and so on. Not only do you need the right kind of car on your train, it's also important to have the train arranged in such a way that it can fit into the loading zone, something that gets harder and harder as time goes on. Your locomotives will also require fuel to operate. Steam engines require coal and water, while diesels require diesel fuel. Managing fuel doesn't factor into most levels, but occasionally it does, which adds an extra level of challenge to already complex logistics. If you do everything in the right order, you should have enough to finish the mission or reach the refueling depots. Other levels might throw in an additional hazard such as UFOs, termites, rock slides, avalanches, or having to navigate through moving trains Frogger style. Other quirks include one-way tracks and levels with points that change automatically when a train runs over them. In the later levels, you'll also have the time limits to deal with, but even without them, a clock that records your time for each task motivates you to see how quickly you can complete the job. Luckily, the time doesn't start until you click a train, so you have the chance to scope out the landscape and plan your moves before getting started. Your train has 3 speeds in either direction: slow, fast, and really fast. You'll need to keep up the pace to successfully beat timed jobs, but you'll also need to avoid crashing. In theory, simple, but in practice potentially challenging. Train controls are left and right as opposed to forward and reverse, which means directions are swapped if it rounds a corner, so we'll need to account for that. Also, you can't zoom the camera in and out, only the mini-map, making it your best bet for levels that require multitasking. One strategy is to place colored signal flags by right-clicking the tracks. Red stops the train, blue reverses them, so you can switch them to another track without missing a beat. Train Town isn't only about picking up and delivering loads. Throughout the game, you will play mini-games, including memory games, directing oncoming rolling stock into the right sidings, a hangman game, and even a Tower of Hanoi game. All of these fit the puzzle gameplay without feeling too out of place, and are meant to add variety to the standard gameplay. Of course, some minigames are more fun than others, but sometimes they just add unnecessary frustration. For example, the math levels give you a selection of numbered cars, and your objective is to shunt, usually all of them, into the sidings to solve a series of math equations. You'll likely use up a lot of scratch paper with these. In my opinion, math problems this hard really don't belong in a game targeted at a younger audience, especially since this isn't primarily designed as edutainment. The Deluxe Edition adds a few new features, like new trains, locations, and levels. But the most important update is the level editor. The base game has a few customizable levels in the tutorial bin, but these only let you mess with the track. The Deluxe Edition greatly expands this feature, with the ability to place buildings and trains and assign loads to the stations. Pretty much all the assets found in the game can be incorporated into your levels. In other words, it's like having your own personal train set on your computer. So that's 3D Ultra Lionel Train Town. It's a fun little puzzle game from a bygone era, one which takes a simple concept and makes it entertaining, with only a few minor flaws keeping it from its full potential. Sadly, while GOG does offer Incredible Machine, it has yet to release Train Town, so if you're anything like me, and either enjoyed trains as a kid or a good puzzle game as an adult, keep messaging them until they put it on there. In my opinion, 3D Ultra Lionel Train Town is worth a second look.